We then get a bit of APA and Jacqueline backstage in the APA's office. Bradshaw getting excited about being in the Astrodome and reminiscing about sports moments from the past. Then the three get up to leave for their match in a very excitable and passionate way.
Yeah, it's very much, you can tell that that's the energy he brings to commentary.
We then get the six-man tag match, which is the Right to Censor against the APA and Tazz. It's a match that goes for just about 4 minutes and ends when Bradshaw hits a clothesline from hell on the Good Father and gets the pin. Matt.
Do you know, I think you covered it earlier, really, Ben, where, you said variety was probably the best thing on this show, and this match was so short that it didn't really overstay its welcome. It was fine. I mean, the one thing that really stood out is that Tazz, again, just whether it was he didn't care at this point or what, it was so sad to see what Tazz had become, because I was a big fan of his work in ECW. Like, he looked like an absolute bloody machine, and then you see him here, and he looks like a bit of a joke, and it's quite sad to see. So I was a bit like, he's a guy who's pretending to be tough, and he just this version of Tazz for me that just doesn't work. So that was a bit of an off-putting thing to start, but he did throw some good suplexes in the match, which is one of the reasons why I do like him. But yeah, there wasn't an awful lot. Like I said, this was very quick, and Bradshaw got the win with the clothesline from hell. I mean, I felt it was telegraphed when Goodfather was going for like his, you can't even call it the whole train move at this point, but his, train move for a second time. I was thinking, yep, he's going to miss it, going to be a clothesline from hell, and that's the win. And that's exactly what happened. And you know what? Crowd loved it. Happy days.
I mean, what a waste of Val Venus this is in the Right to Censor. The Right to Censor is one of those things where I admire the creativity of it, because it's similar to, what was happening with the network stuff in ECW, I guess, at the time, where they had their sponsors or some kind of do-gooder organization saying, like, you can't have a pimp and a porn star in a wrestling show. And to be fair, they've probably got a bit of a point. But what are the Godfather and Val Venus if not a pimp and a porn star? That's the best they've ever had. It was in those gimmicks, and it's a shame. Watching this match, it was all right. Yeah, it's a 4-minute match. There's not really much you can say about it, is there? But Bull Buchanan, that spot where he jumps up onto the top rope and then hits like a clothesline, like backwards, is quite impressive. That is pretty much all the Bull Buchanan lad had, though, really, wasn't it? Obviously, yeah, Brad slaps the old closer from hell on the Goodfather, and then after the match ends, he gives him a little pat on the chest, doesn't he? As he gets up, almost to say, there you go, brother. Thanks for doing the honours.
Yeah, look, as I say, for me, this is a great demonstration of Vince's vision of sports entertainment, because AEW in this event would put on a 7-8 minute, maybe longer, 6-man tag match. What Vince does is he says, I'm going to take 7-8 minutes, but 4 of those are going to be the entrances. And people are going to get excited because Tazz's music is banging, like it's absolutely quality. The APA's is decent too. We can just get people out, get people pumped, have them have a really fast paced but probably relatively sloppy little match. But it doesn't matter, who cares? It's six-man tag match. It only lasts 4 minutes. And we can have them beat up the 4 people the 3 people we've most built up to be the big heels in this company at the moment, which is the Right to Censor. They were modeled after the Parents Television Council, who are effectively a group of people that were highlighting things on the television programs that WWE made and getting sponsors to withdraw sponsorship. Which actually, to Tom's point, is probably, I think, though I would very rarely ever give any credit to any organization such as this in at any point, I think they had some reasonable points. WWE still marketed their product to children, and it was not appropriate for children. So I think that they had some fair points. Ironically, in today's world, the upper management and the McMahons in particular are probably very much in league with the Parents Television Council. So that's quite ironic. But at the time, I think they had some fair points.
I don't like them. And although I would like to point out that Mick Foley has a really fascinating sort of chapter about them. I think it was in his book, Foley is Good. He had a really, really good, I don't know if it was one of the extra editions he did, but it was a really good chapter about them in there. So if you happen to have that book, dig it out. It's really good.
I also really liked the way the WWE did this, though. So they did actually clean their product up using the Right to Censor. So they got rid of Val Venus and the Godfather. They got rid of the pimp and the porn star and just made it a heel storyline, which I think is just really, really clever. So instead of them getting criticism from their own fans for cleaning up their product, they used a heel faction to do it. I think that's just genius. They had all the time people coming out whenever the women would like start to get scantily clad, they would have people come out and cover them up. Don't get me wrong, I understand that wasn't to a lot of people's tastes, but the point is they had to do it to retain their sponsors. So the only way that they managed to both placate the fans and placate the sponsors was by covering it up using a storyline. I just thought that's just genius. That's just really clever.
Yeah. And Stevie Richards, and in particular, we'll talk about her later on, but Stevie Richards and Ivory were wonderful in these roles as well. Absolutely perfect for it.
Also, I won't say this about Val Venus necessarily, but Bull Buchanan and the Godfather were going absolutely nowhere and going to do absolutely nothing. So having them as part of a stable like this is a very legitimately decent use of those wrestlers. I've got no issue with that whatsoever.